Good morning and welcome to today's daily reflection. The writer of the Old Testament book of Ecclesiastes wrote, what has been is what has been is what will be, and what has been done is what will be done. There is nothing new under the sun. Meaning not a lot will change, and suggests we never seem to learn from history. On the subject of nothing changes, if you were to ask any child today about what worries them about their future, most will tell you it's climate change and how it is affecting their environment. As we look at our world today, while many are understandably very concerned about climate change, the burning of fossil fuels and the slow change to renewable energy, reports came out from the United Arab Emirates that planned its use as the host of this year's COP28, the UN's annual climate conference, was used as an opportunity to strike new oil and gas deals. As for never learning from history, what worries most adults today is global security, especially as the world seemingly gets smaller. So we don't need to look too far to see countless innocent lives being needlessly destroyed in needless conflicts by either the greed or the ambition or the belief of another. One such life lost on nothing but the whim of another is the subject of today's set reading. It is from Matthew chapter 14 verses 1 to 12. When Herod Antipas, the ruler of Galilee, heard about Jesus, he said to his advisers, "This must be John the Baptist raised from the dead. That is why he can do such miracles." For Herod had arrested and imprisoned John as a favour to his wife Herodias, the former wife of Herod's brother Philip. John had been telling Herod, "It is against God's law for you to marry her." Herod wanted to kill John, but he was afraid of a riot because all the people believed John was a prophet. At a birthday party for Herod, Herodias' daughter performed a dance that greatly pleased him, so he promised with a vow to give her anything she wanted. At her mother's urging, the girl said, "I want the head of John the Baptist on a tray." Then the king regretted what he had said, but because of the vow he had made in front of his guests, he issued the necessary orders. So John was beheaded in prison. His head was brought on a tray and given to the girl, who took it to her mother. Later, John's disciples came for his body and buried it. Then they went and told Jesus what had happened. This is the word of the Lord. Well, we thank God for John the Baptist and men like him. Men who aren't afraid to stand for the truth. Men who aren't afraid to confront wrongdoing. And men who aren't influenced by worldly power. John was obviously a man not of fear, but of faith. While men and women throughout history have been persecuted and killed for their beliefs, many might think that by the 20th century we might have learned a little more tolerance, but sadly it wasn't to be. Above Westminster Abbey's great west doors stand 10 statues to modern martyrs, Christians who have given up their lives for their beliefs. The martyrs are drawn from every continent and many Christian denominations. They are said to represent all who have been oppressed or persecuted because of their faith. Names, some we may remember or know, such as Dietrich Bonhoeffer, priest and theologian who declared Christians must live maturely and responsibly in the world and live by God's grace, not by ideology. He was executed in a German concentration camp in 1945. Also Oscar Romero, Archbishop of El Salvador, who stood up to human rights abuses. In 1980 he was shot dead while celebrating Mass in the chapel of the hospital where he lived. Even in this 21st century, hundreds if not thousands are dying for their belief, such as the unknown to many Gail Williams. She was shot dead in 2008 while working amongst the poorest in Afghanistan, only because she was a Christian. But there is one story that for me resonates with that of John the Baptist, who could probably have saved his life if he had stopped rebuking King Herod, who had married his niece Herodias, who had been his half-brother Philip's wife, while Philip was still alive. John became the first of three martyrs that are recorded in the New Testament. This is a story of a young man from Chad in Africa. His name was Matthew Ayarga. He was among 21 Coptic Christians who were beheaded on video by ISIS in Libya in 2015. They were all poor migrant workers from one particular Egyptian village. He was reported as not being a Christian, and yet when he was asked, "Do you reject Christ?" he looked at the beheaded men around him and said, "Their God is my God." So he was killed too. Well, we too should take time to look at our faith in a world where 1 in 7 Christians face persecution daily, but also a world where Christianity is continuing to grow and spread. I want to end with 3 quotes, 2 from Christian authors, but the first from Martin Luther King, who echoes the words of both the Old Testament prophet Isaiah and John the Baptist. "I have a dream that one day every valley shall be exalted, every hill and mountain shall be made low, and the rough places will be made plain, and the crooked places will be made straight, and the glory of the Lord shall be revealed, and all flesh shall see it together." And then from Lisa Tertiehurst, I think that's how you pronounce her name, "Remember who you are. Don't compromise from anyone, for any reason, because you are a child of the Almighty God. Live that truth." And finally from Max Lucado, "God never said the journey would be easy, but he did say the arrival would be worthwhile." And to end with a prayer taken from the Old Testament book of the prophet Isaiah. "Those who trust in the Lord will find new strength. They will soar high on wings like eagles. They will run and not grow weary. They will walk and not faint. And yes, their God is my God." So whatever you do today, this coming week, try and do it with a smile. Bye for now.